Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's CGB, and today in the arena we're going to take a look at Mono Red and how it will be affected by the rotation this fall, and look at a way to craft a rotation-proof version of the deck that you can play for the next few months without worrying about your cards rotating out and not getting that value from getting to play them come October, November, whenever the official date for rotation occurs. So I made a rotation-proof elementals deck that talked a lot about the upcoming rotation. I'm not going to go back over that many things about rotation. I'm going to dive in assuming that you know when the rotation is and what sets are rotating in and out. If this is not you, if you don't have that information, if you didn't watch that video called Rotation Proof Elementals, you can go to the website whatisstandard.com, or you can go find that video Rotation Proof Elementals and watch that video. All right, diving into it. Red is the most, this version of Mono Red, this specific version is by far the most popular deck of MTG Arena history so far. It is a very brief history, but without question, this has been the most played deck. I think that nobody would argue with that. While Esper had a time where it became the most popular deck on ladder near the end of the last format, Mono Red has been the most popular deck on ladder since the game went into open beta. Back when Kaladesh was in the format, Mono Red was the most popular, and after rotation, Mono Red remained the most popular. There is no deck that has stayed around 30% of the meta for nearly even close to as much time as Mono Red has. And with this being the most popular deck in Magic Arena history, how will it fare post-rotation? How many of these cards can you keep using? Should you craft this deck today if you're just getting into the game? Let's dive right into it. I'm going to cut the cards that are rotating straight out of the deck, and we're going to talk about replacements for them. Right off, Fanatical Firebrand, the face of the deck in my opinion, has always been this little goblin monkey pirate, because every time somebody plays this on turn one, I just sigh and I'm already ready for the beating that is to come. But you are out of there, and no longer will Fanatical Firebrand be the one drop you face unless there's an unexpected reprint in the new set, which is something you honestly shouldn't even consider. Don't think about it too hard. Get to Lava Runner is another one from Dominaria. This wizard has been fueling the power of Wizard's Lightning, and it is getting cut as well. In fact, all the wizards, this Viashino Pyromancer was printed in M19, which is rotating, so that is going as well. And Wizard's Lightning is a card from Dominaria. That is going as well. Holy cow. I'm going to now at this point talk about replacing some cards, because some of the replacements are pretty clear. For Viashino Pyromancer, there is a pretty solid replacement in Ember Hauler from M20, so I'm going to get that one into the mix. And for Wizard's Lightning, or one that we're about to talk about, Lightning Strike, Skewer the Critics can definitely be added to the deck. However, the loss of Lightning Strike is a big one, and we're just going to trim that for now. If we expect a format filled with creatures, we could bring Lava Coil into the deck. And Lava Coil can replace the Lightning Strike as far as clearing the way for our creatures. But Lava Coil is not nearly as flexible as Lightning Strike, and it cannot go face. For now, I'm going to add it, but that is going to be one of the spots we'll have to watch. Do we actually want a Lava Coil type card in the deck that can't go face but can remove almost any blocking threat? Here we have Goblin Chain Whirler. This card has dominated Standard and controlled what kind of decks are viable, and there's a lot of decks out there that when we say, well, it dies to Chain Whirler, that's basically the death knell. This card is out of there, no longer in the format after rotation. But there is a decent replacement, a very powerful rare card that is sticking around, and that is Legion Warboss. Legion Warboss can join the deck, but Legion Warboss is not nearly as powerful if we don't plow the way. Basically, if Warboss can't attack, or if the tokens can't attack and at least trade with something, it's a lot of trouble. So a card like Lava Coil to clear the way, or possibly some combat trick or way to buff our creatures, is an important way to make Warboss good. But right now, Warboss can hang out. The true value engine of the deck, Experimental Frenzy, does get to stay around, and that is a big deal. Experimental Frenzy, however, does require cheap cards and Spectacle to be easily enabled to make other cards cheap in order for it to be as effective as possible. So how many Frenzies we run and whether or not Frenzy remains a good card in the format depends on 1, is Enchantment Hate easy to play and easy to find, and 2, can we get more cheap cards into the deck? We lost the good 1-drops. Gitu Lava Runner and Fanatical Firebrand were the 1-drops worth playing, and they're out of there. So when the new set starts getting spoiled and we find out what's going to be added to the card pool, we're really looking for some good red 1-drops. In the meantime, let's see if we can replace what we lost. First of all, when you're looking for cards that will be rotation proof, it's a good habit to go in here and select these sets in your filters. As you see, these sets are all the ones that are leaving. So let's leave those out and let's go here. And now we'll only see cards that I guess fit that particular bill. So a few things stand out as potential replacements in our 1-drop spot. One is Scorch Spitter. If the opponent doesn't have a blocker on the battlefield, the Spitter will deal 2 damage with each attack. It deals 1 damage from its trigger, and it gets in for 1. The body is so weak at a 1/1, so this is another card that in many ways demands that you plow the road and keep the opponent's creatures dead. So that makes more sense for a Lava Coil. It also makes any card that says target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn, like an old school card like this was On-Crop Crasher. If they print something like that, this might be particularly strong because being able to keep the Spitter from being blocked or the War Boss from being blocked for a turn could make a big difference. Let's get the Spitters in the deck and try those out. A few other cards that could make a difference. Grim Initiate is a decent little value card, and these kind of cards are pretty strong in a small format. Hunted Witness was a decent card until many more 1-drops were added to the format. This could be a decent card in what we call the small format when there's only 5 sets legal in Standard as opposed to 8. I'm not that enthusiastic about it, but the First Strike does let it trade up with cards like Shock, but it's not as good with Skewer, and, well, as long as the opponent plays 1 toughness things, it's good with Spectacle cards because the opponent wouldn't want to block it. So, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one, but another good one for activating a light up the stage spectacle type thing is Spear Spewer, which basically deals damage that cannot be blocked every turn as long as the spewer sits on the battlefield. So I think I'm more ready to try a Spear Spewer than I am to try a Grim Initiate. I think that that's going to be better. This is now a 60 card deck. We could call it at that. But I want to talk about another card that may take you down a different path. While I love Legion Warboss and acknowledge it's a very powerful card for the right matchups, it also ends up a sideboard card pretty often for a good reason. Because oftentimes it gets brick-walled, meaning a large creature just eats the tokens and you're not getting ahead and the card sits there doing nothing. Whereas Chain Whirler was always ready to rumble. A few cards that could take the spot of the Legion Warboss. One is this Mizium tank, although I don't like it nearly as much. This can become a large trampling threat if you cast a number of spells. But I think more likely the card to watch could be Chandra's Spitfire. Chandra's Spitfire has evasion, which is a big deal, and works well with Spear Spewer, and Scorch Spitter, and Ember Hauler, and most of the cards that are left in the deck. So I actually want to try that quite a bit. Another interesting card for the spot is Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, but I honestly believe this should be a sideboard card. The card, much like Warboss, wants to be in specific matchups where the opponent doesn't have threats on the board or blockers to stop the elementals from getting their 2 damage every single turn. So I'm going to leave Chandra, Acolyte of Flame on the sidelines. I also may not want 4 Experimental Frenzies anymore. Without the ability to activate Spectacle the same turn as easily, like the Lava Runner with its haste and like Firebrand with its haste, I don't see the Frenzy turns being as explosive. For example, if you have an empty board and a Frenzy, a Firebrand into a Light Up the Stage into a few burn spells was a devastating thing that could happen. In this version, say that you have only a handful of lands and you play a Scorch Spitter and a Spear Spewer, and then you reveal Light Up the Stage that you can't cast, and you dealt no damage this turn and put out some little tiny critters, that's not very exciting. So I am willing to try trimming on Experimental Frenzy because it doesn't look as good in this version of the deck, and bring in some Chandras, which are also rotation proof and will be around for a while, and can team up and be more effective even though our individual 1-drops are not as effective. So now what you're looking at is a rotation-proof red deck. I don't argue that it's better than the existing version, but it is still strong, and it will still test the format and make the opponent respect it. So I'm interested to seeing how this plays. I'm also curious about trying some different things than the lava coils. As much as I like lava coil, believe it or not, I'm considering cards along the line of Heartfire because they can go to the dome. And I'm considering cards along the line of, where did it go? It's a pump spell that gives trample. There's also this, which is a bad lightning strike. It's 3 damage to target creature. And there's also Jaya's retort, which is another bad lightning strike. None of them target face, so I don't think that those are ever the right call. But maybe I'm wrong. I think Lava Coil is strictly better than all of those right now. Pyro Helix is 1 less damage than a Lightning Strike. It can be split among targets. There might be a world for that. I guess that pump spell is rotating. I think it was called Run Amok, but I was curious in trying it because it gave trample and could still activate Spectacle while also going over the top of the opponent when they try to block our Scorch Spitter or our Chandra Spitfire, but it looks like that's rotating as well. But if there is a pump spell that gives trample for a low, reasonable cost, it might be worth doing, especially with a card like Chandra's Spitfire. Alright, this is the way I'm going to leave the deck for the time being. We have to change our mascot, of course. Who wants to run the yard for 1 hot minute? I like the art on the Spitfire, so you get to be the boss. Let's go play some games and see if this holds up. Maybe we can identify some of the weaknesses. I will be doing unranked, because I don't want to tilt off about losing some mythic ranking points or by giving myself a handicap. So we're going to go do some damage and see if we can identify some of the weaknesses and what this deck is most looking for, so that if we see them spoiled in the new set, we'll know that is exactly the card we want to add to our red deck when it is released. All right. The hand is bossy. We're going to open on the play with a Scorched Spitter and a Runaway Steamkin. We could also lead on the Spear Spewer, but this early in the game, I definitely want to lead on the Scorched Spitter as it's more likely to get in some damage. So we'll keep it, and let's get off to the races. See if this little red deck can still put pressure on an opponent. Oh no, a mountain meets a mountain. Zap, 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 zap. And a shock for the Spewer. Okay. We'll see if the opponent brought another shock and if they're prepared to take on the Runaway Steamkin in the same manner. If not, that's pretty silly. I might feel bad about that. And a Lava Coil. Okay. Red, kill it is what we're up against so far. So I'll play out another Spitter and I'll play the Spear Spewer rather than doing any shenanigans with Light Up the Stage. We really hope to dodge a Chain Whirler here. The opponent's had the perfect answer at each step so far, and that does not change. Alright, let's trigger with the Spear Spewer, because it turns on the Spectacle, and let's cast the Light Up the Stage. We might reveal a Skewer with it. We reveal a Chandra, which is nice. So let's skewer this particular critic. Chandra can be very, very effective in the red mirror, if it gets to stick around, and if we can put enough pressure on the opponent's life total. We saw the joy there of Spear Spewer being less, well, slightly more immune to Goblin Chain Whirler, you could call it. Another Lava Coil. And here comes Lava Running. Alright, let's get Chandra down. That Light Up the Stage is a big draw, because now this mountain can come down, and we can Spear Spewer and then cast the Light Up the Stage here if we want to. Or we could save the Spear Spewer to defend the Chandra. But I don't really want to chump away the Spear Spewer anyway. If the opponent attacks the Chandra and bolts it, then they take 5 damage, and we have 2 fresh cards ready to come next turn, so let's go for it. Unfortunately, those cards ain't that good. No card advantage there. The opponent has had, like, Lava Coils. Do they also have, like, Lightning Strike, Wizard's Lightning here for the Chandra, or are they ignoring it? They go to the face and they light the stage for some mountains. Chandra's Spitfire is here. Even with the Skewer the Critics revealed, that stuns me. This is a nice draw off the top too to have a backup. When the opponent plays a Spitfire, we can guess they have another one because they played it right into the skewer.
Sit back and watch it burn.
Ooh. Well, guess it doesn't matter which mountain we throw into the abyss. I also think it's funny that the Spitfire, like the Spewer activates our opponent's Spitfire. That'll be something to keep an eye on. Now we could play this other Skewer and wipe out this Lava Runner as well, but I want to save it. I think my opponent has another Spitfire, so I'm at least going to wait one more turn on this play. I think it's worth taking 2 damage to ensure we don't get completely smashed out of the game by an overpowered threat. The opponent's going after the Chandra now. You take 2. Do they have a way to finish Chandra off? And there is the other Spitfire. Yep, gotta read the signs, everybody. Finding lots of mountains.
This is just gonna be bad for you.
Alright, so I'm just going to Skewer at full price now. The mana discount doesn't make a big difference anymore, and I might actually want to chump away the Spewer. We'll see. It depends if the opponent attacks the Chandra. Oh. Besides, our life total is also lower, so Spewer is a lot worse for us right now. 2 cards to go. And the shock it is. Let's not spew. Let's not give the opponent free spectacle as well. Another thing about spewing on the opponent's turn is you give them spectacle, because it damages both players. There is a shock. Let's go, Chandra. Let's do this thing.
No problem fire can't solve.
Ooh. Well, you do what you gotta do. Some would say don't make this play, but I think to get more cards is worth it. I don't think ultimating Chandra is going to be easy against red. They can always find a way to damage it somehow. But more cards matter a lot. I guess we're lighting the stage for full price. We could shock the opponent to light it cheap, but I don't like that play. This, I think, will get us just what we need. And there is another shock, which is excellent. I never thought I'd be happy to have that 8th land, but I am. Now we have a Spitfire ready to get on the battlefield, and our opponent has Rekindling Phoenix. We have Lava Coils we have not drawn, and boom, shakalaka.
Sit back and watch it burn.
All right, here we goes. That's gonna work out. We play the Steamkin first to pick up those +1/+1 counters. If the opponent wants to remove it, that's fine. They're less likely to be able to remove the Spitfire now. And a coil for the Phoenix has to just be some tilting icing on the cake for the opponent. And a Chain Whirler off the top. Well, that will trigger the Chandra to go face, which will pump the Spitfire, but that doesn't matter. Spitfire can't attack right now anyway. Another Steamkin. Let's see what we exile. Another Lava Coil. That's pretty clutch here. And let's deal our opponent some extra damage, because I think that that's totally worth it here to make sure we get a quality hit with the Spitfire. It also means that the opponent is going to interact with the Chandra. They're going to be so close to dead. And it puts another counter on our Steamkin. Runaway Steamkin off the top. Let's plus that Chandra one more time. Another Spitfire. And we could go face to trigger the Spitfire and not kill the Steamkin, but this forces the Steamkin to chump block anyway. And the opponent also has the option here of just taking it and ending the misery. But no, they will fight till the end. A noble warrior. And that will do it. Wow, we established red dominance and superiority with our rotation-proof version of the deck. The opponent may have been trying something kind of similar, but they still had Chain Whirlers. Alright, we're light in stages, lava coiling things. This is a weird hand. I actually don't know if I'm supposed to keep it, but this is an unranked game and I want to see where it goes. Like, so one of the things about this hand is if I drew a Fanatical Firebrand, this hand would be on. Or a Lightning Strike could help turn on these light up the stages. This new version doesn't have that ability. So I'm curious to see how bad these light up the stages get. I'm going to try the hand though. It's research. I could certainly see mulliganing it. We don't know if the Lava Coil will be good. If this is a control deck and they thought erase us and take our Frenzy or our Spitfire and leave us with no creatures, we're in so much trouble. Alright, we drew a Spitter off the top. Get to work, buddy. Get to work, Whittle guy. At least here if the opponent commits to a Thought Erasure. Okay, Treasure Map. Not a Thought Erasure, that's for sure. Let's get the Spitfire down, right? It can survive a Cry of the Canarium. It forces the opponent to immediately have removal or they take a huge hit. Actually, let's not show them the interaction. Maybe they'll forget about it. If I played this pre-combat, they would have seen how the Spitter grows the Spitfire. Let's hide that. Let's hide that knowledge. Let's hide that info. The opponent with the Upkeep Scry? Is that what that was? Main phase Scry? That's not good for them. But it is Esper. Does Esper has removal? Not yet. Let's send in the boys. Or girls if you like. I think you can assign whatever gender you want to this lizard and this elemental. For me, it's kind of like a dig on the meme. Me and the boys, spitting fire on the enemy. Let's try out one of these light up the stages. The Lava Coil, I'm not casting on nothing. That's not good. Shall we try that again? Wowzers. Alright, now I really need to not be Thought Erased so that I can cast this Experimental Frenzy. If this Frenzy gets taken from my hand, wow, did this draw fall apart. And you're seeing the awkwardness of Lava Coil in a proactive deck when the opponent doesn't play a creature to block. Okay, our opponent is on really nerdy little trinkets. That's kind of adorable. We're going to take a big old hit from the Spitfire, though. So that Chandra draw is awkward, because if I play Frenzy, I can't play the Chandra. So I think we just want Chandra to come down. And we'll do it now. We might reveal a Shock and get to deal a ton more damage. An Ember Hauler that will get exiled. Sadness. Spit. Hit. Go. All those beautiful spells. Into the exile. Feels bad, man. There's the Kaya's Wrath. We still have the Chandra. And soon to has the Frenzy. But if the opponent has Cleansing Nova, that'll be annoying. I guess what else could they do? What would deal with everything? Planar Cleansing? They're not going to run that because they have all these dorky little trinkets. They might transform. So maybe they would. Interesting. So I think here because we have a lot of looks with the Chandra, I think we can play this first, because I think we'll hit a land. Opponent will flip the treasure map. They have a counter here. That's a tilt. Nope. Alright, so Spear to the Spews. Why not? There's a Skewer the Critics on top that we can exile. And we hit another 1-drop and no land. So, punished. Should have played my land. Life is hard. Life is pain. Now let's see what this trinkety little Esper deck is up to. Because I gotta admit, it's cute. We got treasure maps, we got compasses, we got wraths, and we got Mortify. That's obnoxious. Now the opponent will be able to transform their Compass, which can stop an attacking creature from attacking. And they're drawing a card with their Treasure Cove and playing another Revitalize. What are you up to? It's kind of this weird control deck. Let's fire up the Chandra. They will have to deal with it, or we will
It's gonna be bad for you.
we will ultimate the Chandra next turn. Play some more threats, but let's not overextend. Our opponent already showed us a Kaya's Wrath, so I think the Spitter can chill. So many lava coils in this particular game. In the game where you least want them. Also, the Spitter is just held back here by these Spires anyway. And here's Emergency Powers. Fun. Alright, do the thing. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. No instants in the hand. Treasure map for free. I mean, you did the thing. What's it do? Do I still get to ultimate a Chandra? Let's, I guess, spew some spears. I mean, I'm doing it. The opponent might have that new card. What is it? I forgot the name of it, but it's a blue rare that counters an activated ability. I'm going for it anyway. This is not a coward stream. 7 to your face.
Oh, it's you burning.
Alright, let's skewer the face. Let's ping the face. Spear Spewer, please do the honors. Revitalize. In response, I will revitalize. In response, I will spew more spears. Oh my goodness! Look at you! You are a champion. Look at you staying alive. Oh my goodness. Alright. So now what? Ember Hauler does too. Let's try and light up the stage. I guess I shouldn't have played the land then. Although, having a Frenzy on the board might just be the best thing. Well, we can start with a light up the stage. Oh, we hit the skewer. That's why we start with the light up the stage. I'm sorry, opponent. You really, really, really tried to stay alive there. Like, that was well fought. But I had to burn you. My heart's with the Esper nonsense player. They've got some kind of combo thing cooking, and I burned it to death. I've become what I hate. Alright, we'll open on a Spitter, we'll kill something of our opponents, and we'll spit more fire. The tag team, back again. I mean, when they're not answered, they're good. You can't deny that the Scorched Spitter and the Chandra Spitfire punch for a ton of damage. It's like 7 a swing. 6 a swing? Math? Math, anybody? Bringing mana. Mana Speaker. Let's plow the road. Merfolk. Merfolk is pretty much a dead deck with rotation. All the good ones will be gone. I guess you might try to do something with that Brineborn Cutthroat Pirate Merfolk with Flash that can become big, but Merfolk Tribal, almost no payoffs, and the opponent just going with a land here. That's ouchy. Also, this is going to probably be a deck that has a very hard time dealing with a Spitfire. Did they play any removal at all? Some versions don't. Some of them just tap things down with Tricksters or bounce things with Unsummon. There's the blue mana, and I've got plenty of removal spells to go, so against these kind of tribal creature strategies... Ah, the Pioneer! Almost perfect. It can definitely trade with the Spitter now. Do we force that trade? I guess so. It's annoying to shock the Pioneer when I could shock the face and hit for so much. I could Lava Coil the Pioneer though, but then what do I do against a Cumena? Not much. I could also just attack for 1. But I think that's pretty weak. Let's keep the Merfolk off the battlefield. That's a good way to handle Merfolk. What is unfortunate is we're out of ammo. We need to draw a Frenzy or a Chandra, and it's possible I should be running much more of those cards as well. Just turn it into an aggressive into card advantage deck, like most of the post-sideboarded best of 3 red decks already do. Oh my goodness. Did I just see that the opponent revealed 2 River Sneaks there, or was that a glitch? If you didn't catch that, rewind the video. There was a moment where I saw 2 River Sneaks, but I think it was a glitch. I'm on Guild Mage. I mean, is that worthy of a lava coil? It's weird because I'm flooding out so badly. Makes me feel like I should fire this off. And if the opponent uses this and then plays a Cumena, it's too big to be lava coiled anyway. So I guess I have to kill this thing, which feels horrible. And now we're down to actual nothing because we're drawing 6 lands and 5 spells. Ouchie. But we could draw 2 ways to damage the face in a row and be in a good spot. And now here comes the Horde. Are you joking right now? Ugh. I guess I'm trying to prevent a little bit of damage here and lengthen the clock. Man, how did I flood so bad? And was okay. And was fine. The things I used removal spells on were unfortunate. I really wish I didn't have to tag this Pioneer or this Combine, but I think there were good reasons to do it at the time. Alright, Frenzy off the top, and then Shock Shock. Ember Hauler. I don't think I can live. Let's see. Block here and block here. I still take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can block here, sack, kill something else. I guess we'll play for one more turn. See what happens. But I'm pretty sure I'm chumping away my board to do it. And the opponent... Okay, that'll do it. So we'll say, good games. Scoop them on ups. Flood happens to the best of us. Alright, let's go. We'll shock something, play a Steamkin, plow the road, play a Spitfire, it'll be great. It'll be awesome. Go ahead, do something. And it's on. Godless Shrine. The fun is already beginning. Ready to get Espered. Alright. Let's go, Steamkin. This is not a good hand against a Kaya's Wrath, for certain. This Kanta. Okay. Yep, it's on. That just made it a lot better. Like, a lot better. Let's unload the Spitfire. And slam with the Steamkin and see if the opponent has a Baby Teferi ready to go. What would it even bounce? Oath of Kaya is probably a bigger problem. If I had Oath of Kaya and Baby Teferi, you'd play Oath of Kaya first. Just spam the Oath of Kaya. And I'd take out the Steamkin, because when the opponents untap with Steamkins, bad things tend to happen. There you go.
Longer. Stand by and watch.
Steamy McBouncy. Shock off the top. Alright. Let's play out our Steamkin again. Let's Spitfire. Well, we could just go face. Letting the opponent keep a Teferi, especially when I can attack it without an Oath of Kaya going on, feels really bad. But I do have an opportunity to get a bonus off the Spitfire, which is a lot of life. It's a tough one. With a Wrath about to occur, though, it just seems really loose.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was right. You can tell me in comments what you would do. We should have a little poll. Teferi or Face? Face or Teferi? Tell me in comments. Plenty of times I've left the Teferi alive only to have very terrible things happen. Plenty of times I've gone Face and not had anything bad happen. Alright.
Past, present, and future are bound by threads.
That is good. The opponent's going to take a ton of damage. Although it's another one of those cases where do I let the Narset live? Like I could shock the Narset here and then be done with it and have an extra counter on this. The next turn I can shock the Face, go up to 3 counters. If I draw a land I can Ember Hall and get some extra damage in that way. Either way I'm not quite playing the Frenzy. Or I could go Shock Shock, that takes the opponent down to 14. Then this hits for 7, down to 7, 4, 3. I'm like a Skewer the Critics away from drawing lethal. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Scorch Spitter. It's another 1-drop. So I can fire off a lot of stuff this turn. There, so this attacks for 11, and then this comes in and does 2 more, so down to 1. The other thing that we could do is if we remove the Steamkin now, this goes back up to 2, then this sacrifices, the opponent goes to 12, this goes to 10. I think that's lethal. And okay, that'll do it. Spitfire was going to get in for 10, and then the other 2 points from the new counter freshly placed on the Steamkin and the 2 points from the Ember Hall going Face is lethal. So from 18 to 0. Bang. Alright, let's go in for a quick review of what we're dealing with here. I'm still, like, Spitfire, you saw the best of it against Esper, a spot where honestly I thought it would be at its worst. So maybe this card is not as bad as I think it is. I still think the jury's out on if you also want, like, Legion Warboss or Chandra Acolyte of Flame in some number. They're definitely sideboard cards, but they could make their way into main deck. They could be good enough. Lava Coil certainly was a bit of a strain on the deck, but at the same time, I'm not sure that there's a better replacement at this time, and I expect most best of 1 decks to continue to have creatures. Spear Spewer and Scorch Spitter did their job. They weren't complete embarrassments. They got in there. They triggered the Spitfire. Good things happened. Experimental Frenzy and Chandra are the cards where it's like, I really want more. I want one of these in every single game. So perhaps trimming down to 2 Lava Coils and running a 3rd Frenzy and or a 3rd Chandra is where the deck wants to be. That's mostly of what I have in mind, is how do I get more Frenzies and Chandras into the deck. So that's where we'll leave it today. I think you could craft this and still win plenty of games and be totally ready for the next rotation, as much as I hate saying that because, you know, red is not necessarily my day-to-day jam. I'm more of a control mage myself. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like and subscribe. You can also check out my 2 other YouTube channels, Covert Go Live and Covert Go Free. The live channel has my live streams converted over from Twitch, and the free channel has my free-to-play account, where I show you how I would play a free-to-play account all the way up the ladder. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.